Thank you. I'm like excited just even thinking about my perfect day. And I highlighted a few things where I found that I was being a bit vague. Like, I make dinner. So I'm going to go back tonight and be like, well, what would I make for dinner? Or I talk about my office that's outside of my house. I'm like, but where is this office? And what's the view from the office? So yeah, I think that just like circling back on it and saying, where can I get a little bit more vivid versus being vague? Okay, cool. So I am just going to take a second to open my tab. So give me 1 second and I'll make sure that the screen share is doing okay. All right, let me click this and slideshow. And Alex, can you let me know?
It's just loading. Oh, you're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, amazing. I'm just going to pull up my notes as well. So we are going to dive right in. I'm excited because for the next 4 weeks, we're actually be focusing on the foundations of your business. And upon reading through all of your type forms and just the applications that came in of like why you joined and excited to work on, I know that so many of you are keen to dive right into social media strategy. Hi, we're back. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Let me know when you can see this. Yeah. Thank you guys for bearing with my computer that is having meltdowns way more than I need it to. So we're going to hope that this one decides to stay on. Okay, so upon reading through everyone's applications, we know that you're so excited to dive into social strategy and website and to grow your email list and to figure out SEO. But what I want to begin with, especially over the next few weeks, is making sure you all have a rock solid foundation for your business. And oftentimes I get people who enroll in coaching with me and they say, Kels, I just want a marketing strategy. I'm ready to turn on the faucet and let the leads flow. And then I look at where we're going to be sending all of those leads. And if we're going to get all this attention and all these eyeballs, I'm like, okay, that's exciting. And we're going to get there. But what happens if there are leaks in the faucet? Or if by driving all this attention, we're actually just going to end up wasting your time and energy and money because you don't have all of the basic foundational pieces of your business in place. And therefore, people arrive at your website or they arrive at your social media or they arrive at your offer and they're just not quite sure if it's for them. They're not quite sure if you are the coach or the consultant who's really able to solve their problem. They're not actually sure how to stay in touch with your work. So they just end up dead ending and they go find somebody else to follow. So I hope that this sets the stage for why we're going to really work on a solid foundation, repair any cracks that might be in your existing business plan. And then we're going to get into the marketing stuff and really work on driving more attention to your business. So that's where we're going to kick off today. So you might be wondering, well, what is this 4-part foundation that I speak of? So this week we are going to be dialing in on the who. This is also sometimes called your ideal client avatar or your niche. We are then going to chat about your offer. So making sure you have the right offer packaged up in the best possible way. So that'll be next week. We're then going to move on to the value proposition and how we position you in the marketplace to really showcase the unique brilliance of your business, your clinic, or your practice. And finally, we're going to make sure we have this really frictionless journey that when people find your business at the top of the funnel, they're then able to be nurtured into becoming a paid client or taking whatever that next step is with you. So I am curious, I'd love to hear, just type in the chat. Why do you think it's important to get clear on the who? or the niche or the ideal client avatar. There's so many words for this, so I'm sure you've heard it positioned in different ways, but just love to hear, pop in the chat. Why is it important to get clear on the who? Shelby says, because you can't sell to everyone. Yeah, I think the most popular quote that circulates in this niche is, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So that is such a valid point, Shelby. Thank you. Anyone else? Why do you think it's important to get clear on who our business is talking to, whose problems we're solving, so that you can choose proper language in your messaging? Absolutely. Yeah, and even to expand on what Marissa is saying here, to also choose not only the language and the brand voice, but the brand colors and the fonts and the aesthetic you present through every single thing that you put out there, right? If we know our niche or our client avatar is a CrossFitter and they're training for their first competition, everything we put out there is going to have like this little bit of intensity or edge, or we're going to use darker, more bold colors. But if we're talking to, somebody that's dealing with candida, for example, and mostly women who are in their 20s and 30s, our brand aesthetic is probably going to be completely different. Awesome. So you don't know what problems you're solving if you don't know who you're serving. Absolutely. And that's something that we're going to dial in today. And you know how to support them. So awesome. Yeah. So I think you all have a very good idea of why we need to focus on the who. Whoops. So working off two screens is not always my specialty. So I really want to make sure that everybody knows that there are different levels of niches. And you may have heard a quote that says the riches are in the niches or the riches are in the niches, but that's not always true. So I don't want you to ever get the impression that you have to like super narrow down to a very, very specific audience and you can only focus there. Some of you are going to be a little more broad with your niche. So maybe you're at the top serving folks that are seeking alternative healthcare. Or maybe you're a layer deeper and you're serving folks seeking naturopathic medicine. Maybe you go a little bit deeper than that and your niche is women seeking naturopathic medicine, or menopausal women seeking naturopathic medicine, or women who want to lose weight while they're going through menopause and just feel like they used to, or who live in the West End of Toronto because you're location-based, who are also menopausal seeking to lose weight. So there's so many different ranges of niches. And for some of you, you're going to start broad, and then through practice, through actually building out your marketing plan, talking to more clients, working with more people, you're going to start to identify certain common challenges with a lot of your clients, certain dream come true outcomes of a lot of your clients, and you're going to be able to go a little deeper. And some of you might actually find that you start with a very, very specific niche, one that's really, really small, but you actually want to open it up a little bit because you feel like your services could actually accommodate a few more people, or you want to make it a bit more broad. So honor the fact that it can change, and all of these statements would be niches that are profitable and that you can succeed with. And one of the questions that I'm asked very often is, well, are certain niches too small? Like if I go to this bottom one here, West End of Toronto, seeking to lose weight, wanting to feel like they used to. There is no such thing as a niche that's too small if you have a small amount of people who truly care about what you're talking about, right? Because if those people feel like you are the subject matter expert in the area and they're all coming towards you, most of you really only need 30, 50, 100 clients, maybe some of you running clinics, thousands, but we don't need to talk to everybody, okay? So there is no niche too small if people truly care about the problem that you're solving. And being broad is not going to make you successful more quickly. Being really, really niched is not going to make you successful more quickly. It's really about finding that sweet spot where you feel like there is an audience of people who have similar challenges or similar dream come true outcomes, and you're excited to serve them. So your niche can take many shapes or forms. It might be based on geographic location. It might be based on age or gender or life stage. It might be based on a common challenge, like, women suffering from acne or teenagers suffering from acne. It might be based on a common aspiration. I want to compete in my first CrossFit Games. It might be based on shared values. So I'm looking for a free-spirited wedding photographer. It might be based on your own journey or transformation. Oftentimes, our niche is kind of the us of 5 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, or we're filling a niche that we wish there was a service provider who could have filled when we had a particular challenge. So these would be examples of how a niche can take shape or form. So I want to share some real life examples, people who are either clients of mine or who I have a relationship with who have very successful niches. And then we're going to go through our own exercise and actually defining what we want our who or our niche to be. So first example, or the other one could be based on similar growth objectives. So this is Marisa. So Marisa is a Candida coach. So really, her niche is in serving women through overcoming their Candida overgrowth. So very successful business, tons of clientele out there. So I'm curious, when you look at the list of how we could define our niche, how has Marisa actually niched down? Which of these has she dialed in on and called out in her main value proposition? So go ahead and type in the chat. What do you see when you look at Marisa's niche? A common challenge, absolutely. The common challenge of Candida, right? Heather's calling out gender. Yeah, so she actually calls out that she works with women. And I hope you can kind of see that her branding actually speaks to that. And the other one I see here is maybe her own journey. Yes, she's got a compelling story about navigating Candida herself. So these three defining factors are really how Marisa came up with her niche. A common challenge of Candida, that's who she's serving. So she gets them to a place where they're no longer dealing with symptoms of Candida. She's targeting women, and it very much is based on her own journey. So you are all right. Let's go over to a friend of mine, Sarah Monica. So she is a photographer. I believe Tanya knows her as well, for free-spirited and adventurous couples. So I'm very curious, when you look at Sarah Monica's business, how do you think that she has chosen her niche? What are the factors that you're seeing Sarah use here? Yeah, she is amazing. Shared values, absolutely. Free-spirited and adventurous. So that is definitely a shared value. Anything else? Do you see anything? Yes. Okay. So Heather, you caught it there. Life stage. So people getting married. So that is a common objective, right? So a wedding photographer. Now it's not called out necessarily right there, but you can kind of get the sense that when she's talking about couple, she's talking about engagement, weddings, and any kind of party that exists around getting married. And a common aspiration, absolutely, to have a photographer who can capture the essence. Now, the neat thing about someone like Sarah Monica is that she very clearly states on her website who she doesn't work with. She does not photograph weddings in churches. That is just a no. She does not photograph primarily indoor weddings. So these are just things that she knows about herself and her niche, that she wants all her work to speak to that free-spirited, adventurous couple who prioritizes nature. And although you'll talk to her, there was a lot of hesitation on calling this out because she thought, how can I possibly be myself and grow a business? I'm free-spirited, I'm adventurous, but go figure, there is a huge market of people who love the style of photography that she's offering. And I want to share a personal example too. So my own website. So obviously I offer marketing consulting and coaching, and I'll share just a sample of how I've positioned my SEO. So I'm curious, how do you think that I've defined the niche that I serve as a marketing consultant? Anybody? What do you see here? I'm trying to give you some hints. Online business. Yeah, that's absolutely like the aspiration of starting an online business. Similar growth objectives. Yeah, so people who want to identify new income opportunities, implement a simple marketing challenge. Common challenge, absolutely. And there's one other one that you might be missing. Yeah, location. So this one is an interesting one that I want to plant the seed in your head. So further along this program, I'm actually going to be teaching you how to look at your analytics to see what are people typing into Google that Google would actually pull your website to page one. Okay. And we have tools where we can do this. And what I started to find in my first 3 to 4 years of business is that people were looking for a Canadian business and marketing coach. They were looking for a Toronto-based business coach. And so I actually made it my niche. This was not part of me, sitting and doing exercises and homework, but I realized that there is a huge demand, and my website was starting to be pulled up for people who were looking for Canadian marketing coach, Toronto-based business coach. And there's so many versions of those search terms. And again, I'm going to help all of you to do this. So I actually took the information I was getting from my clients, from what they were searching for, and I revamped my own niche. So just know that this is an evolving process. And if you see an opportunity, go ahead and take that opportunity and say, my gosh, nobody is offering marketing coaching in Canada. And there's a lot of search volume for that. So again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I hope that it inspires you to realize that you're going to, as you plant seeds through this program, you're going to get a lot of information back, and we can use that information. We can become detectives of the people who are circulating around us and say, oh, every time somebody applies to work with me or they fill out a form to work with one of our practitioners at the clinic, they're always writing this word. They all say they're struggling with, this symptom, or they just want to feel a certain way. And you start to see patterns, right? You start to see trends in the people who are coming to you. And that's when I would say it's time to dial in our niche once again. So we're going to use today's session as a launching pad, but just know that a lot can change and a lot can shift. So we're going to get right into the exercise today. So I've got this visual here. One or two of you may have been through this with me before, but I always think it's worth redoing. So in order to start getting clear on our niche and the problem that we solve, I want to present to you this visual of 2 islands in the ocean, okay? Just like it looks like here. There's one island over here, and it's kind of like a dark and stormy island. It's not very fun to live on Island A. This is where you have a lot of unwanted challenges, problems, things aren't going that well. If I'm thinking of someone like Brittany, for example, it's like there's no food in the fridge at 5 o'clock when the kids come home and they're starving. It's Sunday night and you have no idea what Monday breakfast is going to be. You get home from sports practice and everybody's hangry and there's only chips and chocolate chip cookies. Okay. So these may be the challenges and pain points on Island A. And then across the ocean, there's another island. You can see it's kind of sunny. It's more enjoyable there. There's a hammock. There's space to relax and feel at ease. And that's because on Island B, you have hit all of the dream come true outcomes and you've gotten yourself off Island A. So maybe on Island B, in this case, the fridge is full of healthy, nourishing foods that are nutrient dense. The kids have easily accessible snacks that they can grab on their own time after sports practice. Your meal prep takes you 2 hours in a week, and you have exact, precise grocery lists and recipes that are easy to follow. 5 ingredients are left or less. So you can see how on Island B, things are a little bit better, right? So of course, a lot of you have already built your boat. The boat is the transport system. It's the photography package that you sell. It's the amazing nutrition coaching services that you sell. But before we rejig your boat and maybe we make the VIP yacht that is like the premium experience of working with Tanya for a branding session, or maybe we like shrink it down into like a little kayak and we're like mini sessions are the way to go. We need to figure out what's going on Island A. Like, what are some of the challenges that your dream client is facing, friction points, and where do they wish they could be? Like, if they hired you and everything went so well, what awaits them on Island B? So I'm going to give you some time. We'll do about 10 minutes to go through this exercise. And I just want to remind you to be specific. So if on Island A, you find yourself writing low energy, let's go a layer deeper. So maybe on Island A, it's like ever since you hit your 40s, your energy is so low, you don't feel like working out and you have trouble functioning without that all day drip of caffeine. Like, go ahead and be specific. And on Island B, just as an example, don't just say you have great wedding photos. It's like your wedding photos showcase the adventurous and free-spirited nature that you and your partner live out every day. So if you can get kind of granular and to use the word vivid, like just like we wrote out our perfect day, let's get so vivid about where our client is and where we can get them if they say yes to working with us. Because the person that understands their clients the best usually wins the sale because the client feels seen and heard, and they know that you are going to be the best investment and the best fit. So I'll give you, maybe let's do 7 or 8 minutes just because we're so tight on time. And it might be an exercise that you want to give yourself another half hour at some point this week. But go ahead and let's fill out our Island A and Island B. So you should have 2 columns, right? Between 5 and 15 bullet points on each side. I'll actually just jump into, because I know some of you serve many different niches right now. So for the purpose of this exercise, you may just actually want to choose one of those kind of groups of clients. Or if you are here because you're like, I think I'm launching a course, or I think I'm creating this new group program, you might want to do this exercise for that particular project. So up to you, or you can do the exercise 2 or 3 times for a few different niches. Give you about 30 more seconds and then we will continue onwards. If you're having any trouble with this exercise too, sometimes it can be helpful to literally walk yourself through who you think your dream client is. Like go through minute by minute what's happening in their day and imagine all of the points of friction as they move about their day, or if it's their work day, what's going on, or when they go to search for a practitioner or a coach, what are they feeling? That might happen on Island A. And then if you imagine like your best client ever that got the most awesome results, what are some of those things that they hit? And don't be afraid to describe those on Island B, especially if you know that like you can deliver on those outcomes. Obviously, every client has a different experience, but we also want to showcase some of our best work. So we're not trying to overpromise here, but really to not be shy about the fact that we can deliver outcomes that no other consultant or practitioner or coach or photographer can deliver. And we're going to build the boat to get them to that outcome. We will do what it takes to get that 5 or that 6-star review. Oh, I'm so glad. I love marketing so much. And I know that, some of these exercises, it can be like, oh, this is kind of tedious, but it's going to help you reconnect to your business in the best possible way. And when we dial in on exactly like who we want to work with and what we need to exude in terms of our marketing to really meet them where they're at, actually becomes easy, right? Because when they encounter points of friction, we're there serving up content or value. Okay, so in closing this out, you might end up having, something that looks like this, just as an example. So what I want you to do is now take a minute to actually highlight what you think the most relevant or common challenges are that you wrote on Island A. Like, what are the ones that when you read it, you're like, ooh, yeah, my clients definitely experience that. And that's got to be something that they would pay a lot of money or invest time and energy into fixing. And same thing, I want you to circle the top 3 outcomes that you feel like if you said, I can help you do this, do that, and do this, that somebody would instantly take out their credit card and be like, are you kidding? It's a no-brainer. You can help me do X, Y, and Z. I'm in. That is called having a compelling offer. So let's be compelling here. Don't be shy when it comes to your marketing languaging. Be bold about the outcomes you deliver. So just circle 3 on Island A, 3 on Island B. Oh, yeah, I love teaching. So thank you, Shelby. I very much received that. And I do teach at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. So not a professor per se, but I want to do more of it. I'm calling that in for 2023 and 2024. So once you have those 3 circled on Island A, 3 circled on Island B, I want you to look at those challenges, those outcomes, and really start to see, if I scroll back here, are there any defining kind of common themes that jump out as to like how your niche is inside of Island A or Island B? Is there a geographic location involved? Are you niching by age or gender or common life stage? Is there a common challenge or a common aspiration that you feel you need to speak to? A common problem? Are there shared values that are sprinkled in there? Are you speaking to your own transformation? And there are certain things that you're like, this is what I went through, so this is what I'm going to call out, or similar growth objectives. So let me present you with some homework, because that is how we're going to wrap up most of the marketing session. So first part of the homework is going to involve some market research, and we're going to do a lot with this market research. So I hope you take 20 minutes throughout your week to do it. So once you kind of figure out your niche, or like the who, the problem, the outcomes that are common to your niche, I want you to ask yourself, who else serves this niche or solves this problem or offers this outcome? It could be a practitioner or a clinic or a business. So try and find a couple people who are doing it already. Okay. You might have to hit Google, you might have to hit Instagram and search LinkedIn, but try to find a couple businesses. And then I want you to jot down, what are 2 things they do well in defining their niche or in showcasing their business? And where do you actually feel you can shine brighter when you compare yourself? So this is just very basic market research, but I want you to look at what else exists, because down the line, we're also going to have to put our websites in comparison to our competition and just see, oh, what keywords do they rank for? Cool. I could go for some of those and some different ones too. So a little bit of market research here. And to sum up all of the homework that I'll be presenting, I do want you to finish that Island A, Island B if you didn't have time. I want you to, in circling the 3 on either side, I want you to define your who. Remember, you don't have to use these sticky statements of, I help 20-year-olds to do that. Like, we don't have to follow a formula. There is no formula for writing your who. It's whatever words feel most aligned with the person you're speaking to, right? Do you need to add more like postured language, or can you be super casual? More vague, more specific? So write out your who and add it to Slack and share it for all of us to offer feedback and support on. And that third piece is going to be the market research. So once you figure out the who and who you want to serve, then I want you to look at who else serves this niche, what are 2 things they do well, and where do you actually have a leg up on them? So we'll post this homework with the recording on Slack. So hopefully all of you are familiar with Slack and you've logged in a couple times, but if you have any questions in like how to use the platform, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. Brittany called out a really good point in terms of when somebody writes a message in Slack, you can actually hit reply to that thread. So it'll actually keep it all in one chunk. So instead of adding a new message, hover over the person's existing message and hit reply, and it'll all stay neatly under that. That's just like a little logistical thing. And the other thing too was that Brittany also posted an awesome call to action for everybody to share their Instagram or where are the best places to connect with you. So we'll share a reminder, but if everyone wouldn't mind posting your Instagram handle or your main social media platform of choice or your website, we can all get to know each other and start following one another's content. So I know we have 1 minute left. There's so much that we packed in here, but I hope you got a couple really good golden nuggets today. Does anyone have any closing questions before we wrap up?
Maybe we could also just take 30 seconds for Heather and Brittany to introduce themselves. I think that was on our agenda.
Yes, it was, because we missed a couple of you last week. So Brittany, do you want to start just sharing who you are? I don't know if you have to jump right at 2:30 or if you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I'm good to keep going. I can't remember exactly what we were supposed to cover, but
just a general overview of you and what lights you up and what strength you bring to the group.
Right. Okay. I'm Brittany. I'm a mom of 2 boys who are 4 and almost 2. So I live a very busy life. And part of who I serve is other busy moms who have packed calendars but want to fuel themselves well with good food and fuel their families well and not struggle so much with meal times with their kids. So that lights me up to bring confidence to the kitchen and confidence to just moms who are busy and wanting to feed their families well. Strengths that I bring, And just grit, I think, is one of the things I work full time. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm, a mom. I play sports, all the things, and I'm just gritty with my time and getting stuff done when I've got a goal. So I just stick with it.
So incredible. I love that. If people want to take like 10 seconds, pop open the chat, reflect. What did you hear when Brittany was talking? What is something that you want to mirror back to her? So good. Mama who has
Compliments
grit.
make me uncomfortable, but thank you all.
I know. You'll have to just take these in and like internalize them and receive them.
Thank you. Yeah.
Energy, grit, goals that are beautiful. Thank you for all of that. And then let's go to Heather. Heather, let's shine the spotlight on you. Who are you? What do you do? And what strengths do you bring to the group?
Well, my name is Heather Haig, and it rhymes with vague. I'm just going to keep saying it. Who am I? And who do I serve? So I spent 18 years in financial services working for Canada's largest wealth management firm before going out 7 years ago to hang my own shingle. My business has grown almost exclusively on word of mouth and referral. I have done zero marketing for my main source of my business, which is coaching wealth professionals and wealth leaders. And so I've decided to leap in 2023 because my husband said, what would happen if you actually marketed this business? So we're going to see what happens when I actually market myself in this space. What do I love to do when I'm not working? I love spending time at the lake. Outdoors is my vibe, like just being in nature, especially by water. And I have a karaoke machine both at home and at the cottage, so I can sing whenever I can. So that's a little bit about me.
Amazing.
Karaoke party coming up.
Definitely.
So good. Thank you for those intros. Amazing. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you everyone for your time, your energy, your intentions today. We cannot wait for next week already, but in the meantime, good luck on the homework, and we will be in Slack daily. So don't be afraid to add a message there and to let us know how things are going. So thank you, everybody. And I see you're already reflecting back in the chat what you heard from Heather. So that's awesome. And we will see you all next Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone. This was amazing.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.